Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls Lounge podcast with your host, Liz and KT. And this week, we are coming at you guys with our hot takes. It might get a little controversial in here, but we'll get into that later. Of course, before we get into it, we're going to get into our little segment. So, what we've been up to. It was just Labor Day weekend, and for me, I just chilled and did nothing because my parents were going on a cruise. So usually I go home for Labor Day weekend, but this is like the first weekend since being in college that I didn't go home. But it was really nice because I just chilled and relaxed. Liz, what did you get up to for Labor Day weekend?
Normally I don't do anything, but this year I went to Florida with my college friends. One of my friends, her godmother has a condo down there, so we went for the weekend. We hung out at the beach, at the pool, enjoyed the nice weather, and now I'm back. Depressing.
I'm so jealous. You're in the nice weather, and I was just in. Well, Kentucky was like pretty hot. I think I don't know. Actually, it was because I remember I had to walk to get Subway for dinner. I was like, this heat. I'm not ready for it. But I will say it has cooled down a lot since last week. Today, the high was 83, but it was just so much cooler walking to my first class today. And my fall playlist made its debut today. I was like, I'm ready for the fall. It's that transitional weather and like the leaves are falling off the trees. I was like, yes, fall is here. Once it's September 1st, I'm fully in the fall state of mind.
No, because I woke up this morning and it's nice and cool outside. I wore jeans and I wasn't hot. Perfect weather. I will say though, when I was in Florida, it was like hot, but it was nothing compared to the Kentucky hot. Because why was it hotter in Kentucky?
That doesn't surprise me. I feel like with Florida weather, I'd be hearing it's hot, but like they get like a nice cool breeze from like the ocean and stuff. But yeah, I'm always happy when I can wear my jeans out and I'm not too hot. But enough about us. Now, well, this whole thing is going to be about us, so just ignore me. But now on to our favorites of the week. I'll start. So my first one is simply rotting time. I look forward to my rotting time literally every day. Like I make sure after my classes and after I'm done with my work, I just have like a couple hours to just chill and decompress from the day because it's just like being around people in general just really can sometimes drain my energy. But especially when I'm like doing a lot of talking in class, with group work and stuff, I'm like, woo, this is a lot of talking for me. So I'm always just glad when I can just have silent time and just lay in bed.
My favorite is something that's so underrated, but my pillows. Let me give you like a little backstory. So I moved in. I've been like in school since July 30th because I had RA training. And this whole time, I've been sleeping with my little two throw like decor pillows because my like actual pillows, I left them at home. And every time I'd been home since then, I always forgot them. In the past weekend, I was able to get them and the sleep just hit different with like actual real pillows. So my pillows have been my favorite.
That does not surprise me at all. The way Lisby operated. But now onto our sports corner. Bum, ba, bum, ba, yes, I'm going to be making that a thing, you guys. So first, of course, F1. So the Italian GP just happened, and we got a Charles win. Whoop whoop. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a McLaren one too. Like I really thought for the way the beginning of the race was and how lap one went. If you know, you know with Oscar and Charles overtaking Lando. I thought it was going to be a McLaren 1, 2, and then Charles third. But Charles actually won, and then there was the two McLarens. While I was very happy Charles won, I was grieving a little bit about the loss of a McLaren 1, 2, because as y'all know, I'm a Ferrari and McLaren fan. So, it was a bittersweet day, but just seeing all the videos of Charles being happy was amazing. But let's pray for my other team, McLaren, though, because I feel like so many people just have problems with their performance. Especially people was trying to hate on Oscar and like don't do too much on my man's Oscar. Like people get mad when the drivers just be racing. Like it was just pure, clean racing. Like I don't know why people are so upset about it. Them poor Red Bulls, which actually I don't. Red Bull is on my team, so I'm actually happy that they're struggling. But yeah, that race, it was very eventful, I will say.
I'm personally convinced that Charles only wins in like the emotional races because like first he broke the Monaco curse, and then he wins in the Italian GP where like Ferrari, like Italy, like their home. All the emotional races he does good. The other ones he just struggles a little bit. He needs that emotional support.
Yeah, I feel like those races is when he's like willing to take a risk. Not to get too like technical with F1 stuff because I don't even really pay attention that much, but like everyone for this race was like planning for like a 2 pit stop strategy, and Charles basically said, "No, I'm staying out," and he pushed to the end. And at first I thought he was gonna like start really struggling towards the end, which I think he was, but like he still made it past that finish line. And the cheers of the crowd were crazy when watching, so I can't even imagine being there. Like, I need to go to the Italian GP one day.
Our next little sports corner topic is the US Open. I know Kennedy has some comments about some losses that happened this past week.
Yeah, so recently, me being a sports girly has not been the happiest. So the quarterfinals is coming up for the US Open, and I just gotta say, why are so many of my faves getting taken out? I will say there are still two Americans in TFO and Taylor. What's his last name? I can't think of it at this moment, but they're both in right now, and that makes me happy. But like Carlos Alcaraz is gone. Like y'all, he got out early. Like he got out second round, which is crazy. Like no one was expecting that. Novak Djokovic got out third round, I think. Coco's out. Tommy Paul just got out. So Matteo Berrettini, he got out, which I wasn't really surprised about that. But just like so many people, I'm like, dang, I can't have nothing. And mind you, right before that, Logan Sargent just got dropped from F1 mid-season, so I was just already reeling from that. And then I was like, ugh. Like I think people are saying that the loss of the gold medal really affected Carlos Alcaraz, which I'm like, probably. Like he has just been playing a lot of tennis recently, so maybe he just needs a break. And you can't always be on the top of your game at all times, but it was very sad to see. But can we talk about the crossover real quick with tennis and F1? With Carlos and Matteo being at the Italian GP. I love that picture. Oh, and also Louis Tomlinson. I think that's how you say it. He was also there, which just adds even more to how people be saying that there's a pipeline from One Direction fans to F1, which I'm not part of that pipeline, but I can definitely see it.
I don't know if I would consider myself part of the pipeline because, like, I do like keeping up with it, but I feel like I'm not that into it. So, I don't know. You can be the judge of that, Kennedy. And our next topic is our pop culture and trendy topics. And Kennedy, have you listened to Sabrina's new album finally?
Of course I have. I know last week I was lacking. I really liked it. It was almost a non-skip album for me. I'll tell you guys the songs that I like if I can pull them up. So I really liked Taste, Good Graces, Sharpest Tool, Bedcam, Juno, and Don't Smile. The other ones, of course I like Please, Please, Please and Espresso. But the other ones, I'm just like, they're not totally my vibe, but like, I would still listen to them if someone else put them on. Liz, here's the real big question. Have you listened to Sabrina's album?
You know, I haven't fully listened to it. I've like tried. I've sat down and like put in the background, but I just can't really get like fully into it. But I will say, from the songs I have gotten through, Taste is my favorite one. That one has been on repeat.
I feel like you would like Bedcam. I think that's towards the end of the album. And Don't Smile.
Yeah, I haven't made it that far, so that's why I don't know those. But I'll add that to my to-do list for tonight.
Bet. And then our next pop culture news. This is for the One Tree Hill girlies. I was a One Tree Hill girly in high school, and that is a sequel is coming on Netflix. And some of the like characters, the one who played Brooke and Peyton, are coming back. Which I don't know. I low key have like mixed feelings about this because while I love One Tree Hill, I'm not necessarily seeking for a sequel, especially with like Peyton coming back because like her character kind of leaves early in One Tree Hill and then just like never comes back. And like Chad Michael Murray, I think that's his name, who played Lucas, he's not coming back, but he was Peyton's love interest. So I'm just curious to see where the storylines are gonna go. But I will be tuned in because I love Nathan and Haley. I was obsessed with them when I first watched that show.
That show continues to be on my to be watched, but I don't know if I'll actually ever get to it. But I do know like the little clips of, I think, Lucas, the basketball guy, and Haley. I could be butchering the names. I could be making things up.
Well, Lucas and Nathan both play basketball. They're brothers. Lucas is the blonde one, and then Nathan is the dark haired one with Haley.
Yeah, it's Nathan and Haley that I've seen like edits of.
as you should, because they are the best couple in that show. Next, we're gonna get into what we have been watching. So, as you guys know, I always say like my movies and stuff for the weekend. So, over Labor Day weekend, I watched two pretty good movies. For some reason, I have just been drawn to like darker movies recently, like horror movies and stuff. I don't know. So, I watched A Quiet Place Day One, very mid movie. I would not recommend it. It was very boring. I watched it twice. The first time I watched it, I literally fell asleep. So I had to start it all over the next day because I didn't get very far. I think it had potential because it was literally supposed to be like the day, like the very first day that this whole thing started where these monsters came. But I feel like they just didn't go into any details about it. Like it just kind of happened and there's like no explanation. And I just think it would be a lot better if there's an explanation to why everything is going on the way it is and like where do these monsters come from? Like how long did the government know about them? Like things like that I think would have been a lot more interesting. Yeah, so it was very mid. I wouldn't waste my time on it. And then I watched The Deliverance, which is a black horror movie on Netflix. And honestly, I was a little like iffy because it's Netflix and because it was almost 2 hours long. But y'all, when I tell you, it did not feel like 2 hours. It was so good. Caleb McLaughlin's in it. And I like when horror movies have like other themes in it. And it really did. And I felt like it was really rooted in like black culture and stuff. It had a lot of religious themes. So it was very interesting and I really liked it. So if you like horror movies, I think you should go check it out.
So I've been watching some Prison Break. It recently got added on Netflix, and this is your sign. If you're looking for something to watch, you should just watch Prison Break because it's actually really, really good. I watched part of it a long time ago and I never finished it. So I started like rewatching it from the beginning, and it's so good. It's basically, it follows these two brothers. One of them is in prison, and the other brother gets himself put in prison to break out his brother, you know, prison break. But he tattoos like the whole prison layout on his body and a whole plan to like get his brother out. So it's really, really, really good. And it's really different from like other shows. So I've been watching that. I also started like rewatching Spinning Out. That's another show if you need something to watch. It's quick. And spoiler, Netflix didn't renew it for season 2, so it's only one season you gotta watch. And then just a lot of mindless scrolling on TikTok because I feel like that's okay to accept.
Oh, and also another good show I feel like for the fall, even though Netflix canceled it, Liz is already gonna know what I'm gonna say. The Society, yes, The Society. That's the perfect fall show. It really does suck that Netflix canceled it, but I would recommend it.
Hashtag bring back the society. Oh my gosh, I will never get over that. As soon as Kennedy said, I know Liz is gonna know, I immediately said it. All the cliffhangers. Anyways, let's move on because I could go on ranting about this for hours.
And now we're gonna get into our song of the week. So my song, of course, to keep on theme with Sabrina's new album, is going to be a song from her album, and it's going to be Bedkim. That is my favorite so far. I've been listening to it literally every day. So I'm gonna play my favorite part. So that's the part I like. It's just very like you just want to dance to it. So yeah.
So my song of the week is an old song, but like it's a classic, I feel like. And that's Everybody Talks by Neon Lights. I don't even know how I think this came on somewhere and I was like, oh, I forgot all about that song. So here's my favorite part of it. And yeah, that's my song of the week.
W song choice. But now we're going to be getting into the main reason of this episode, and that is our hot takes. Quick disclaimer, this is just our opinion, so please don't come for us. I'll let Liz take it away with the first hot take.
All right. So my first hot take is that enjoying being home is not a bad thing, especially like in our age and like your early 20s. It's okay to want to go home and visit your parents, and you shouldn't be judged for that. I feel like everyone is rushing to leave, but it's okay to go home.
You're so real for that. Honestly, it wasn't until I transferred into my second school that I'm in now that I have started staying at school more. But like, trust, freshman year, I was going home almost every weekend. And what about it? I loved it. And even now, I be counting down sometimes like the days that I'm going to go back home because there's nothing like being home, I will say.
Exactly, especially if you have like a good home situation that you can go back to. It's just comforting to like go home and like sleep in your childhood bed. Something about that.
And my first hot take is I don't like Get Ready With Me's. I know this is very controversial because they had like a big rise recently. I feel like, especially due to TikTok. And it's not that like I completely hate them, but like if you mostly make Get Ready With Me's for your content, I'm probably just gonna skip right past ya. Especially if you're not really talking about anything, especially interesting. I will say I do be sad for like drama, like Get Ready With Me story times, but anything other than that, I'm like, I don't really care. I feel like most people, they're not saying anything like different than I've heard from someone else. And like, there's only so many times I can watch someone do their makeup. I don't know. Especially if it's like a YouTube video, I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching that. And then sometimes TikTok, I'm just like, I just want a quick video. Like, if I'm on TikTok, I want short form content. And then if I'm on YouTube, I want long form that is not you just sitting there talking.
I'm gonna have to agree and disagree at the same time with you, Kennedy. I don't like Get Ready With Me's on YouTube because I feel like it's just boring. But I love me a good little TikTok Get Ready With Me. I don't know. Like, yes, some of them are really long and I do skip them, but like a lot of them, I will sit through and watch the whole thing, especially the ones that are more like a FaceTime vibe, like where they're not telling you like what products they're putting on their face or anything and they're just talking. I keep up with like the few like TikTokers that I actually keep up with. I will watch the whole Get Ready With Me, or at least I'll skip through it. Even when it comes up on my For You page, I will be sat for a couple of 10 seconds, before I skip. I love me a good little Get Ready With Me vibe. All right, so my second hot take is trying to be mysterious is not cute. I feel like when you try to be mysterious, it defeats the whole purpose of you being mysterious. Like, if you're mysterious without like even thinking about it, then yeah, like that's cool. But when you try to be all secretive and like not tell people things and then you just casually drop it in the chat or something, like that's not cute. At that point, you're not even mysterious. You just secretive for no reason.
Exactly. And one thing about me is I hate when people are so secretive, especially coming from someone who is such an open book. And I know like that's just not for everyone, but it's just like people be secretive about the most stupidest things. And I feel like that gives the same energy as like people who post on their stories moving in silence, but they're the loudest person you know. It's just like, what are you doing? And it's low key kind of embarrassing. It's like no one pays or wait, no one is paying that much attention to you and no one truly cares as much as you think they do.
And if anything, they're just talking about how you're not being mysterious. Like you're not even doing what you think.
And it's weird because I feel like people be secretive over the most random things. Like it could be like they got a new pair of shoes or something. You couldn't tell us for what. I don't know. It'd be very weird. And then my next hot take is celebrity breakup announcements are so cringe. Now, this one, I'm kind of hypocritical because one thing about me is I love the tea just as much as the next person. But I think it's more cringe when it's like a simple like Instagram story and you just know that like, okay, wait, I think to me it's more cringe when you just know like a PR person like suggested like what they should write and it's just very like non-personable, if that's even how you would say that. Or if it's like a YouTube video and they're sitting together crying, like that's just so cringe. I'm just like, if you're gonna make an announcement, just do it on social media, but like Instagram or something. But like at least give some type of personality to it. Like you don't gotta give us the complete reason why you guys broke up. Just be like, oh, like so and so, we've broken up, we're going our separate ways. Just say something along the ways of like they're like, oh, like we're just on two different paths right now, something like that. Just to give us like a little insight, please. Especially because I feel like while the internet is not entitled to know things, I do feel like if you bring something on the internet in no matter what capacity, when you bring people onto your platform and they're gone, of course people are going to notice. And like, I feel like people make a big deal out of it, but it's just like, that's just human nature. Like, I even think like, let's say Elizabeth stopped posting one of her college friends, I would be like, oh, like, why haven't I seen them in a while? So, it's just natural human nature to be curious.
Agreed, Kennedy. And something about like when they do like a whole video announcement, both of them sitting together crying, Liza and David, bruh. Like it's so cringy. I don't know. I don't like that vibe. It feels like uncomfortable and awkward to watch it. But also like when they do break up, like I want to know a little something. I'm not telling you like tell me every single detail, but at least the statement should feel like you, not like a chat GBT like AI fake vibe type thing because we're going to be intrigued, especially like you said, if it's like a couple that's been together for years or like that's what their whole content is. Aspen Ovard, I still want to know why her and Parker got a divorce, bruh. Not even broke up, but yeah, I agree. So my next hot take is that it's okay to not want to hang out and stay in. And what I mean like that also, it's like it's okay to want to be in bed by like 8, 9, 10 p.m. Like having your alone time, it's okay. And it's okay to like I keep on saying okay, but it's okay to not want to go out and just like stay in and do your own thing.
I 100% agree as a professional, I was going to say yachter, as a professional rotter. Like, who try to be out all the time? Not me. And maturing is realizing that staying up late kind of sucks sometimes. And I love getting my sleep. I don't know. Sometimes just like treating yourself to that night in, being in bed early is just way more fulfilling than going out. I feel like we need to work on a balance as society.
Especially when you're like in your 20s and everything, and like everybody's like constantly like up, 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 go, go, go. Like it's okay to want to stay in, watch a movie, do a little skincare, you know?
Like we have our whole lives to go out, and we probably will have a much better time going out or just doing things later in life because we'll have more money to our names versus now. And especially because, like, I don't know, people be weird, so I don't know. And then my next hot take is YouTube is not dead. Now I got like two like ways to look at this. So one from like a consumer perspective, I'm just like me personally, I will say I do have a wide variety of like content that I watch, so that definitely does help. But I'm just like, I discover new creators literally almost every week, and there's so many creators who have grown their platforms to literally over 1 million subscribers during this period of when people say YouTube is dead and just have like creative videos and upload consistently. Like, I don't know, like I've never been like in a drought. Okay, I will say there are some times I'm just like, nothing's really catching my eye, but like that doesn't mean content isn't still being uploaded. Then from the perspective of like creators, I feel like I see a lot of YouTubers, especially ones who were big during like the skits days and like the challenge days and like the oversaturation days. They're like, YouTube is dead, I'm not getting the same views or whatever. But to me, I just feel like it's just due to their lack of changing their content and adapting to what people want to see, because there's other YouTubers who have adapted and have successfully transitioned their brand after or through the changes of what viewers watch or whatever, if that makes sense. So I'm just like, I don't know if YouTube is necessarily dead. It's just a changing platform and it's just not what it used to be.
I agree, Kennedy, especially with like the changing platform because it's definitely not like any more of the DIY videos or like fall vibe videos, you know, that people used to make. And now it's more like it's very down to earth, very like real content. So I do not think that it is dead. Like I still love watching my YouTube videos, especially the like long form of vlogs, like 30-minute plus videos. I will be sat and I will be watching all of it. But I will say I feel like at least for me personally, I feel like I don't follow a whole lot of new you people. Like I go straight to my subscriptions and I just watch like the people that I watch. If I do follow anyone new, it's because I found them on TikTok. I followed them on there and then I like go to their YouTube channel. But like finding people straight out of YouTube, I personally do struggle with that.
See, that's funny because for me, it's the complete opposite. I always find people on YouTube and then I go to their TikTok and Instagram from there.
And my next hot take, I don't know if this is like controversial. I guess we'll see. Let us know, listeners. But not all gossip is bad. Let me elaborate because I saw like this little, I think it was a TikTok that I saw about this, but how gossip is frowned upon because it's mostly women who do it and it's a way of like silencing them, kind of, you know? And I feel like gossip, you know, is just a way of communication, you know? You're exchanging your different points of views. There is an extreme of gossip, you know, when you're like spreading misinformation and like bullying and that kind of stuff. But I feel like your everyday gossip, not bad. You know, you're just catching up. And a lot of times it's more like you're putting the pieces together of something that you knew, and then somebody gives you another piece of information, and then like the whole story just comes into like view, you know? So I don't think gossip be bad. We love a little gossip session.
I just think people hate gossip because they hate women.
Exactly, Kenny. Trying to silence us.
And then my next hot take is people aren't as busy as they say they are. Now, I don't want to sound like those, hustle culture people that be like, we all have the same 24 hours. No. But I do think if you truly want to make time for something or someone, you will make the time for it. Like, for example, I just think of like, I want to get better at calling my grandparents. So I make sure to make time for it. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I think people just be capping and be trying to use being busy as an excuse. Cause I'm like, you just can't take like 5 seconds to do a quick little thing. I don't know. Obviously, it depends on the thing that they're making an excuse for, but that's just my thoughts.
No, because I agree too, Kennedy, especially when you're up for like, I don't know, 12 plus hours in a day and like you're up and doing things. You're telling me you don't got 5 minutes? Like, if you wanted to make the time, you will make the time for the person, especially if it's something simple like just like texting them or like calling them up, like on your commute or everything. Like, you have time to do that. Like, instead of listening to music, you could call that person that you don't really talk to. So, I really think that it is about like making time and fitting them into your schedule because we can be up and going, but you do have time if you wanted to, if they were really that important.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, my next one I feel like might be a little controversial. I don't know. We'll see. Not all friendships are meant to last forever, and that is okay. Let me elaborate a little bit because I do want to preface this by saying, like, I have been on the side of this where, like, I wanted the friendship to last and, like, it hurts and everything. It's going to hurt. You can't not make it hurt, but it's okay if it comes to an end. So, what I'm going to elaborate a little bit. So you shouldn't only be friends because it's been years, like everybody's gonna change. You're gonna go through life, and you might be like on different paths or like different ideas, ideologies, values, whatever it is. And that might be why you like drift apart and you're no longer friends. And that's okay because you don't want to put in like all of your energy into like forcing it to stay to where like it just doesn't feel natural anymore.
Like Liz, I have also been on the receiving end of it and it hurts. And I think especially because from what I remember about what you told me, I feel like we both were in the situations where it wasn't like there was a huge thing that happened. It was just kind of like both sides just stopped talking. And so to me, it was like it hurts in the moment, but then when you like get over it and you just kind of come to terms with it and heal from it, you realize like, oh, like everything works out the way it's supposed to, maybe even works out for the better. And then also another thing, as someone on the other side of it, it could be like sometimes your friendship just changes because two people, like as you just grow older, like you're just naturally gonna change. And so maybe not even like your friendship will completely like dissolve, but maybe you just aren't as close to each other anymore. So the friendship is just different, but that's not a bad thing. It's just what happens with growing up.
I couldn't have said it better, Kennedy. And like I feel like just having this mentality of like you can't force it, like not everything's meant to last forever, kind of helps like the pain of it a little bit, cuz it's still going to hurt, especially if that person was like important to you and that friendship was important to you. But it's okay.
Yes, and I've had many friendships like back in the past where it's like I at that time I couldn't imagine not being friends with it, but now that I'm not, it's like totally fine. And like with the friends I have now, it's like it was meant to be. Like I was meant to be closer with the friends I have now versus people back then who I thought would be my friends forever. And then my next hot take, now this might upset some sports people, and that is everyone is pretending to like baseball. I truly do not see how people like baseball. I was just like having this like thought in my head, and I was like, truly, if I was to one day become a wag. See, just me delusional. I'm like, what is one sport that like you truly cannot pay me enough to date an athlete from this sport? And baseball came up very quickly. Like it is just to me just so boring, so long. I understand the aesthetics of it, I will say, but I'm just like, there's no way people actually like baseball for real. Like it's basically like kickball but with the bat.
Kickball with a bat is crazy. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one, Kennedy. I like watching a good little baseball game. I will say I do I do see how it can come off as boring because like if it's a boring game where it's like 0-0 for the full 9 innings, like it's not really that interesting. But I love a little good baseball game, especially like during what's it called? Oh my gosh, my mind is blanking. The like World Series? Yeah, the World Series for baseball. I think that's like a lot of fun, like watching the games. I don't know, just watching the back and forth and seeing like the teams advance and everything. I will say though, I feel like a baseball game is better in person. Something about like being there, like in the stands. I have to disagree with you. I just think you haven't gone to a good game.
Honestly, you're probably right. I will say I've only been to minor league baseball games. So if I go to professional game, I might feel different. Yeah, I've only been to Lexington Legend games. If you know, you know.
Funny story, one time, my dad got tickets for me and my friends, and he seems to gotten the time confused because we showed up and it was literally, like, the end of it, like, they were taking pictures of the team, so, yeah, maybe that's why Kennedy doesn't like it too. Okay, my next hot take, this is also, like, one of my, like, pet peeves low-key, but my hot take is you do not have to apologize for everything, and then my pet peeve is people who apologize for everything. Like, yes, an apology, there is the moment where you do need to apologize. I'm not saying that you shouldn't apologize at all, especially if you're in the wrong. But this is more so like in the terms of like when people apologize for something, like every like 2 minutes that there's something that they apologize for. And it's like, you didn't intentionally do that. Like, don't apologize. I feel like apologies should be used more so when you intentionally did something or like you're in the wrong and you're owning up to it. Because I feel like when you just throw away, oh my gosh, when you just throw around the word, it loses meaning to it. Like, you shouldn't have to apologize for everything that you do.
Not gonna lie, I feel like I apologize a lot, but not to the extent that you're talking about. But low key, I don't know if this is wrong or or if I should admit it. But like sometimes I don't even mean the apologies. Like I just be saying it like sorry. Okay, low key I be saying sorry like the weird like the way you're not supposed to. Like it's low key gaslighting. It's like sorry you feel this way. Yeah, sorry, that's my toxic trait. But and one thing about me, you're only gonna get one apology out of me for something, especially because okay, this might also make me sound bad, but I feel like sometimes like I don't even need to apologize, but I'm just apologizing because just to make the situation go away. Yeah, that's bad, but that's my truth.
Not you doing the gaslighting, apologizing, the sorry if I did this, but
I can't help it. I'm just so perfect. So when people say I'm wrong, I'm just like, I just don't understand your ways. And then my next one is your mom is right. Sometimes people do be jealous of you. Now, I've never had this situation where people have legit been jealous of me, but I don't know what's a word for jealous. Is it as intense as jealousy? But I feel like there have been a few instances in my life where it's like people seem to like want to keep up with me, I guess you could say, by following me on social media. But they just had some things to say about me when they would see me in person or just not have the best things to say about me. And I'm just like, that's very interesting because I've never followed someone on social media that I didn't care too much for. But yeah, sometimes your mom's right. People will be seeing things in you that they wish that they had in them, and that's why they have something to say. I saw that on TikTok, and I think that's very true.
I have to agree with you, Kennedy. I feel like people, they are just jealous. And I feel like it's not even like jealous of you like necessarily, but it's like materialistic stuff that they project like onto you, so it becomes like jealous of you the individual.
Yes, I agree. And like, I don't know, I feel like that can even come across in like comments sometimes. I don't know if you gotten this, Liz. I know we've talked about this in the group chat, maybe, or yeah, probably. It just about like within our own like ethnic groups, I could say, just like sometimes getting comments, just like I remember I've gotten the comment like, oh, like you're one of those rich black people or some like that, or like you're whitewashed because of this. And I'm like, I'm sure you've gotten those type of comments too. And it's just like, that's not exactly how it is.
Kennedy, it sounded like we need to do a episode on this because yes, the amount of times I get called like, oh, like a whitewashed Mexican, or like, oh, you're one of those Mexicans, or like, you don't know how to do that. Are you really Mexican? Mm. Sounded like we're gonna have to do an episode on this.
Yeah, so if y'all want to hear that, let us know. And just one more thing, have you gotten, you have a white person name.
Oh my gosh. Especially me, because like I do have a white person name. My name's Elizabeth, bruh. Like my siblings' names, my sister's name's Aranza and my brother's name's Ismael. Like, y'all hear those. They're not white names. And then there's me. with the widest name of all, the name that all the girls have as a middle name. I guess I'm not Mexican enough, y'all. Okay, so my next hot take, I feel like is gonna be a hot take. Okay, so you do not have to like your friends' significant others, and you don't have to be besties with them. It is okay to not like them, and it's okay to own up to that. Everybody has different, like, first in like terms of like physicality, like you might not find them attractive, and that's perfectly okay. But then also like in terms of like everything that's not physical, I don't know. Like you don't have to like them, and they should be okay with you not liking them. Actually, maybe I don't know. Maybe that does make them a little. That's something else. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying there. Ignore that part. But like, it's okay to not like them, and it's okay to not want to be best friends with them. Like that's perfectly normal. At the end of the day, you're friends with the friend, not with the partner.
I definitely agree with Liz, especially for me. In general, I'm just a picky person. So it's like when it comes to like someone talking with one of my friends or like dating one of them, I'm like, you better be coming correct because this is my friend we're talking about. So like don't tell me any bad thing that person has done because that's gonna alter my view on them forever. And yeah, sometimes like people's personalities just don't clash. Like I feel like I've seen TikToks where girls who have boyfriends and their friends don't like them, they're kind of like upset and they're like, I don't know why, but it's just like, well, one, it doesn't really matter what they think because it's your boyfriend, and two, it's just like people are just different. But yeah, and then also some people have also said like they want their friends and boyfriends to be friends and they're like upset when that doesn't happen, but don't be upset because trust me, there's I've seen so many TikToks or people's like friends and boyfriend have become close and then they cheat on the person with their friends. So, we don't want to have that situation. But in like honestly, I think it's kind of weird when friends and like their friends' boyfriends are close. Like, there's no reason. Like, from my perspective, I see no reason to be friends with any of my friends' boyfriends or anything like that. It's just like I just have no interest of getting to know them like that. Not in like a bad way, but it's just like I just see them as like an extension of my friend. Like they're just like someone in my friend's life. They just don't serve no importance to me, but like not in a bad way.
And I feel like there's a difference between like forcing the significant other onto your friends, like forcing them to be friends, and then just being civil with them. Like you might not like them. And I feel like there's a difference between not liking them and not liking them for your friend, which sometimes that can go hand in hand. But I feel like most of the time it's more so like you just don't like them, you don't vibe with them as a person, so you don't see yourself being friends with them. So I feel like you should be civil and everything, but like you shouldn't force your friend. I mean, you shouldn't force your significant others onto your friends.
And not gonna lie, some of y'all just be dating bad people. Let's be honest. So friends sometimes be having valid reasons not to like them. That's all I gotta say.
I'll get more into it with a hot take I have coming up, little preview.
And then my next hot take is hookup culture will never benefit women. Now, don't come for me. And I will say, I do not participate in hookup culture and have no interest to, never have. I'm not on dating apps. I do not judge if you are into hookup culture and all the dating apps. But me personally, I know there's been this whole like narrative about women like trying to like say like no, it's beneficial as well for women if you go about it this way. But either way, I just think it benefits men and women are always gonna get the shorter end of the stick.
I think I have to agree with you, Kennedy, because I feel like especially like the way it's portrayed in like the media, movies, TV shows, like whatever it is, I feel like the woman is always portrayed in a very negative manner compared to the guy. And like I watched I think like 2 weeks ago or something, or maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't know. I watched sometime ago the Friends with Benefit movie, which is kind of like a early 2000s rom-com, and I didn't like it. I don't know. I feel like it was I'll tie this into your hot take, I promise. But it was kind of like obviously like two friends, they agreed to have a little friends with benefit situation, but it was kind of giving also like hookup just within them two or whatever. But it even in the movie, like the woman was the one who was like more hurt and who was like looked at differently, I feel like. And even then that wasn't like a whole like hook up like with random people type situation. I don't know. I think I made sense.
And I feel like sometimes I be seeing narratives where it's like women are like, "Oh, I'm gonna make it empowering by trying not to have like feelings attached to it." But I feel like it just like kind of just happens because I feel like even then those same women they still sleep with like one person, but then the guy sleeps with other people because like that's just hookup culture. But then the woman ends up still getting upset about it and hurt about it. So I just think, if you're someone who just cannot handle that type of situation, it would be best not to get yourself in those type of situations.
Agreed. I feel like you have to go into it with like very strict rules, I guess. I don't know, expectations. That's a better word. But my next hot take ties into my last one a little bit. And it's you do not have to have your friends' significant others on social media, iMessage, texting, WhatsApp, whatever it is, to communicate. I feel like, yes, it's okay to maybe have their number. Like, if something comes up, you're like, "Oh, like, I'm trying to surprise them with this." But even then, I feel like you would rarely use that number. Like, you wouldn't be texting them like you're texting your best friend or, like, your friend, you know? And then I feel like it's also weird when either this can go either way, like, the guy could add them or, like, your friends could add the guy or female or girl, whatever the significant other, you know? I feel like it's weird when you follow them all on social media and you've never met. Like, obviously, you know who they are because they're going to talk about them. But I feel like if you've never met, you really shouldn't have them on each other's social medias. I don't know. That's how I see that.
I agree, especially if you've never met them. Like I've only met one of my friends' boyfriends, and that was just one time. And even then, like I just have no interest to follow him on social media. Like that's just very weird. Yeah, we just have like nothing to talk about, and we don't need to talk about anything. So I would never be that type of person who follows their friends' boyfriends on social media.
And an even weirder thing, when they add, like, I don't know if it's the friend or if it's a significant other because it could go either way. But when they add them onto like each other's private stories on Snapchat, I feel like that's a very intimate level of social media, and that's just weird.
Yeah, I think it's very weird once we start getting into like the private level things, or just even like more like private aspects, or even more like private apps that are only geared towards friends, like maybe like Be Real, Labs, or even like close friends on Instagram, or a private like Finsta account on Instagram. It's just like you are not supposed to be here. This is not your target audience. And then my next one is talking to your parents every day when you are in college is not a red flag. They're my parents. Of course, I'm going to talk to them every day. I love them. And I will say, I obviously don't talk to them like every day, like on the phone, but like I definitely do text them every day. And even then, it's not like a big conversation. It's just like, hello, good morning, blah, blah, blah. This is what we're doing. Something like that. And I think that's totally fine. Like, I don't know why that's like such a big thing. I feel like it's the same like energy of people who get mad when people's parents help them out financially through college, but it's like that's like what parents should do if they have the means to. I totally understand if you have a bad relationship with your parents, or like you're just not in the like you just don't have that privilege to have that help. But it's like I don't think anyone should be looked at for having that help and having that type of good relationship with their family.
Yes, I agree, Kennedy. Especially if you have like a good relationship with your parents. I feel like I don't know, I feel like in our society, the American society, it's very much like, oh, you turn 18, goodbye, you're on your own, don't come talk to us again. Like, bruh, I grew up with y'all for 18 years, you know? I feel like you shouldn't frown upon your friends who still are in contact with their parents or like that kind of stuff. Especially if they have a good relationship. Like if you have a bad relationship or reasons not to, you do you. But like I don't know. Like, I'm not cutting off my parents just because, you know? And like, y'all were together for 18 years, you know? You want to update them on little things.
Exactly. And I feel like it's so weird how at 18 in our society, it's just like, oh, you fly the nest, bye bye, you're on your own. But legit, 18 is still so young. Like, I just turned 21 in August, and I feel like I'm just now starting to feel more adult, but not even like fully adult. So it's just crazy to think in our society we have normalized that. Because I know, at least in European countries, that's my level of knowledge at this point, like people will stay into the house until they're married. Like that's the norm. And like that's kind of like what's like best, I guess you can say. And I feel like that's kind of smart though. Like you saving on rent, you like saving on stuff so when you're married, you and your husband most likely still have a lot of money. that you guys can buy a nice little house. I don't know. I feel like maybe America, we should adopt that because not gonna lie, I was thinking about doing my master's and staying home to save money, but we'll see.
No, because there's nothing wrong with that, you know? I be getting on TikTok the like stay-at-home daughters and like I love their videos. I love the vibes. But I feel like also like in Mexican culture, it's definitely that way where like you stay at home until you're like ready to like leave type thing. But my next hot take is kind of a random one compared to all my other ones, but double dipping is normal, y'all. Don't get me wrong. If you're one of those people who like don't double dip and you're like all gross about it, I won't double dip. But I feel like there's nothing wrong with it because hear me out. You dip your chip into the dip. You take a bite. The part that you bit is the part that you're chewing on, you know? The part that's left has just touched your hand. So what's the difference between that and grabbing a new piece, you know? I feel like it's normal and it shouldn't be frowned upon. If anything, you're getting more of the food that you paid for.
Exactly. And honestly, I don't even understand how double dipping can be gross. And it's like I feel like that's just the superior way to like eat, like a chip or something. And like my mom, she's like the only one in my family that just hates double dipping. But like everyone else like doesn't care. I'm here for double dipping. I don't care about double dipping. If you're with me, we finna be double dipping. And then I have two more hot takes left and then I'm done. So my first one is being someone who is chronically late slash also like high maintenance. Why you're the one late and the only one late is so annoying. Like that is so not demure, not very mindful. Like especially like the one thing I can think about this is like for example, like let's say your friends are coming to a city and you're the last stop, but then you got a nerve to be picky about where you're sitting in the car when everyone else is going out of their way and coming from the same direction. I don't know that. Well, that's more being high maintenance. Okay, let me give an example for being late. So being late, I mean, okay, more so people who are chronically late, but then have a problem with like your decisions for like what you're doing and make them being late everyone else's problem.
Yes, emphasis when they make it everyone else's problem. Like it just ruins the mood. It like and then they project. They're projecting them being stressed out onto the people who weren't late, you know? I feel like when you're the one the last one there, the one that's late, you accommodate to what everyone else has decided and done, you know? That just goes into like the high maintenance of wanting things your way or like no way at all.
Exactly. And it's just weird to me that people have that mindset. Because one thing about me, I'm always accommodating. Like, I'm always all about other people's needs. Like, that's just the type of family I grew up in. So I just naturally am like that. So I don't know. I'll just never understand people like that.
Exactly, Kennedy. I agree 100%. So, my next hot take, it's okay to call out your besties when they're making bad decisions, and it's okay to call them out on their BS. You can still be friends and disagree on your decisions, but you shouldn't have to like be silent about what you think, you know? I feel like you should if you're true friends, you're going to be there for the good and the bad. So, you should be able to like be like, "Hey, I don't think what you're doing is good," or like you making a bad decision here. And like if they choose to do what they do at the end, that's up to them. But at least you voiced your opinion. True friends will be there for you for the bad stuff and they'll call you out on your BS.
I feel like it's better to speak your mind than stay silent because I feel like for me, if you just have friends around you that just validate everything, even if they don't agree but they stay silent, I feel like those aren't true friends. Like they really don't care what happens to you. I feel like people who vocalize, like they obviously want the best for you. That's why they're saying something. And I'm just like, I feel like a lot of people can take it personal, but like don't. It's just truly them being a good friend. Now, my last hot take is kind of different from the other ones, kind of very randomly placed, but I think this one can also be very controversial because I see a lot of discourse about it. But that is, if you have to cover a child's face when posting, just don't post them. I feel like that just gives the same energy back when I was in middle school or high school with the dress code. And I would get told by like coaches and stuff, like, if you have to think about your outfit in terms of like, oh, is this dress code? Is this not? More than likely, it is out of dress code, and you should just not even risk it. So I just think that's like the same logic I'm applying to this. And yeah, I just feel like I don't know, like it just kind of ruins the picture. I don't know. I feel like again, like I said, if you have to cover their face, just don't post it. I'm sure there's so many other pictures you could choose from. Especially if it's like a picture of like you and them, like maybe just don't post them, or maybe just post like a picture that maybe their head is turned or it's the back of their body, something like that.
Yes, Kindy, I totally agree about the covering children's faces up. Like, I think the idea behind it, like, is really good. Like, yeah, you shouldn't exploit your children and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like if your content is going to solely revolve around your children and you're going to cover them up, that's just doing too much. Like, side eye at that point. I feel like, I don't know, you can just show content that doesn't show your kids if you're going to cover them because it's you go out of your way to cover them up, especially like on Instagram posts. At that point, just have a private Instagram.
No, because I agree. It's like, okay, I understand like if you make simply mom content, but not necessarily like with your kids, but if you're like make content that's about your kids but cover them up, like that's weird that you're still using their likeness to make money off of them. Like I think that's very weird.
Exactly, and there's so many influencers that, like, started to see how they were exploiting their kids and everything, and they stopped, and I feel that that's the perfect way, like, you just completely cut the kids off the videos or whatever.
Exactly.
And that is the end of our hot takes and our little chit chat type of episode for this week. We hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it this far, make sure that you rate and like on whatever platform you're watching us on.
I endorse everything Liz said. You want to make sure you're following us on TikTok and Instagram because we be posting some things and things might be looking a little different next week. I don't know. You didn't hear it from me. But with that being said, thank you guys for listening and we'll talk to you guys next Wednesday. Bye.